All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind the Lens. I am Carl Hansen, your host. I'm also the team leader for Cultural Detritus, a filmmaking team that has competed in the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge for the last 5 years. Our filmmaking team will be joining us here in a moment. I'm going to quickly introduce our interpreter here, Andrew. Who will be interpreting for us. I apologize, Andrew. I should have had you up right when I started, but figuring all this out here. Oh, and this was supposed to be, I think, our theme music. Welcome to our live stream. So, all right, that's enough of that. All right, I'm going to introduce our team. We have first in the room here, we have Diana Elizabeth Jordan, one of the actors. Diana, if you wouldn't mind quickly introducing yourself.
Sure. Hi, I'm Diana Elizabeth Jordan, and a brief visual description. I'm a Black woman with curly hair. I'm wearing a red print dress, and I'm in my apartment, and there's a like a stand behind me, screen behind me, and some shelving right there. Very happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Diana. And yes, thank you also for reminding me, even though I said we should do visual descriptions of ourselves, that I should actually visually describe myself as well. So I'm a Caucasian man. I'm wearing blue-rimmed glasses. I have a graying beard. I'm wearing my Cultural Detritus hat, and I'm in my little home office here with a Best Film plaque from a 48-hour film project that I made. There's a sports Emmy behind me, 2 of the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge Awards, and then I made this painting last year at the Blackbird Film Festival, which I will be going to, along with our next guest, who I will introduce, who is Megan Clancy, one of the other actors. Megan, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Megan Clancy. I'm an actress, an associate producer with this team, and I'm a white female with glasses, long brown hair, and you might have seen 2 cochlear implants that I may be wearing, which are colored pink, and then behind me there's just a white refrigerator on my left, maybe your right, on the frame, and there's a picture frame with a table right underneath it, and everything looks nice, I think. And then right behind me there's some shelving with some silly knickknacks on it, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. And she plays the character of Jin in the film. Next, I'm going to introduce Crystal Rivers, our amazing writer on the project. Crystal, if you wouldn't mind quickly introducing yourself.
Hi, I'm Crystal Rivers. I am white with short brown curly hair. I have a boring white background in my room, and I'm wearing a blue t-shirt. So excited to be here. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Next is going to be Scott Rosendahl, another one of our actors who plays Moscow Mule. Scott, if you want to quickly introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Scott Rosendahl. I'm an actor, writer, producer. This is actually the 3rd project that I've worked on for the Film Challenge with Carl and Danny. I play Moscow Mule.
All right. Thank you so much, Scott. And then currently, last but not least, we have Patrick Iveson, who is our colorist. Patrick, if you want to quickly introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. My name is Patrick. I am white. I have long, blonde, like dirty blonde hair. I have cat shelves over to my side here. You can't. If the cat jumps down, you'll see the cat. She's laying up there right now. And yeah, I did the color on the film.
I will say, I think also the most last minute addition to the team. I think, did you come on, was it Friday night where I called you? I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to call you and to see if you were still available.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was like I showed up the next day to look at set. It was fun. That's how the film goes, or the challenge goes rather. It's fast.
Well, and you made an amazing film a few years ago. I think, was it through COVID, during the documentary genre? I forgot, what was the name of your film?
It was called Independence.
Independence. It was an awesome film. I highly recommend everybody watching that film as well. So I'm still hoping. Oh, and actually, let's see. We're going to try and bring Danny J. Gomez in here. All right, Danny, let's see. Hopefully the audio was working. If you can quickly introduce yourself.
Is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Yes, it's working. Yes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Danny J. Gomez. I'm the director of the film. Visual description, I have brown side swoopy hair. I'm a Latino male, and I'm wearing a shirt that says celebrate, don't separate. Change the way you see disability, because that's our theme, I guess, for Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. And I'm in my room with some lamps and knickknacks on the wall there, and I'm so happy to be here, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Danny. And then I see Parson has just joined as well, and he will be maybe the last edition right now. Parson, we're just introducing ourselves. If you wouldn't mind giving a quick visual description of yourself and what you did on the film.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm Parson Brown. I was a co-producer on the film. I am a white male with dark hair, and I try to smile a lot. And right now I am hanging out in my sound booth, so it's just like I'm like a weird just face right now.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for joining. I added your title, by the way, underneath your name. I populated it. But thank you guys all for being here. We still may have a couple of people join sporadically, and we'll see how it goes. But I think I just kind of want to start first with Danny and Parson, because you guys were on the project the longest from the get-go. And maybe Parson, do you kind of want to talk about how you got involved in the team and how long you've been working with us?
Well, you know what I could tell you is that so I met Carl is one of the first people that I met when I came to Los Angeles, and I was fortunate enough to a friend of mine advised me to get involved in his short films, like the 48-hour festivals, and you know, it's just like become like a really big like part of like my whole experience in like not just in Los Angeles, but really like in filmmaking. So I've worn a lot of hats on a lot of like of his different projects over the years, but I was co-producer on this project, and that is mostly at this point just kind of crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure that everybody gets fed, and dealing with as I said earlier, like sometimes I put out fires just to start new ones.
No, I would not say you were a fire starter by any stretch of the imagination. You're like a fire. You're like a fire person. You're putting out the fires for sure. But so Parson, you were on I.O. That was our first Disability Film Challenge film that you were a part of, and that was one that also featured Danny. And Danny, do you want to kind of give a quick intro of sort of how we met and how we kind of got started working together?
Yeah, and thank you, Parson, for putting out all those fires and being the Mad Hatter that you are. We appreciate everything you do.
Mad Hatters, that's more fun for sure.
Yes. So I started my first Disability Film Challenge was as an actor in 2018, I believe, when it was 2 years after my accident. I was lonely. I had nothing going on. I was literally alone in my apartment when I got this random text asking if I wanted to be part of the Disability Film Challenge, and I didn't know who the number was from, and I was like, "What? What does it?" I have no idea what you're talking about. So I decided to go with my gut and say yes. And next thing you know, I was on the phone with Carl, and he was asking me what special skills I had, and I was like, "I don't know. I'm an actor. I don't know. Is that the special skill you're looking for?" And he's like, "Well, can you sing? Can you dance?" And mind you, I'm post injury, so I'm like, I can't really do anything. So I was kind of nervous, but I ended up having a great time on set, and we learned a lot about what it was like to. I learned a lot about what it's like to make a short film in one day, and Carl and I just, we were just magical together. Like, I love working with him, and I learned a lot. And from there, I did maybe 2 or 3 more films acting wise with him. And last year he asked me if I wanted to direct my first short, which I've always wanted to direct. I've always had like a visual eye, and we did that, and it was quite an experience. And he asked me to do it again this year, and it was another great experience. Lots of fun. I'm definitely loving the director's seat, but I also, I love being in front of the camera as well.
Yeah, we obviously had a large group of talent on this one, and obviously, Danny, this being your second time directing, Turntable being the first one last year, which was another Disability Film Challenge film. And something I just kind of want to tell everybody, for those of you who are not familiar with the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, it's a filmmaking competition where we have 5 days to create, write, shoot, edit, visual effects, score, all make an entire short film in that amount of time. And a lot of that is as much planning as we possibly can do while knowing very few elements. They give us a genre, which we know a little bit ahead of time, which this year was romance. And then on the Tuesday before the shoot, which we ended up doing on the Saturday this year, they revealed the rest of the elements. I would like to ask you, Crystal, because I know this was your first Disability Film Challenge project. Getting those elements that first time, and maybe talk about what the elements were and what it was like for you then having to kind of craft a story almost by committee, because we're all on Zooms trying to figure stuff out and figure out what the story's like. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like from your perspective?
I actually loved it. I love writing, and I love having a challenge that gives you these, I don't know, for me, the ideas that they give you when they tell you, you have to use a hat or a scarf. Initially, we knew that it was going to be romance, but we didn't know what kind of thing they were looking for. And then you guys were fortunate enough to have an awesome location that we could write for that. And I don't know, it was just this great, wonderful collaboration, which I'd never gotten to do before as a writer. I'm used to being by myself in a room where I'm writing for other actors to shoot things for their demo reels, or I'm writing a feature film and I'm getting to know these characters that are from my head. It was really cool to know, like, these actors are capable of these sorts of performances, and to have such a talented cast already that I could write for. I don't know, it was all just so new to me, and I really, really loved it.
Yeah, and you were so fast. We were talking today earlier, I'm like, you're so fast. You're such a fast writer. And it isn't just fast, it's also good, right? So it's like you don't always get those two combinations together. And just in terms of like the speed that we have to do it, because we have to figure out the story very quickly. We then have to figure out how it all can make sense with the people that we have. And you did a wonderful job incorporating everybody. I think we lost a couple of cast members the night before just because it was like, even to try and force everybody in was becoming very challenging. But it was something that I think, you did a really wonderful job, given that it was your first time as well, that we had this great script to work with on the day. And, it's always trying to figure it out, right? It's like we're trying to find it throughout the entire process. I would like to ask Megan, actually, because Megan was also an associate producer on the film, as well as one of the leads in it. She helped secure our location. And I would love to kind of talk to you, Megan. What was it like being an associate producer and helping out with that? Because you also helped source all of the ASL interpreters. We did a huge team. I want to say we had 12 interpreters throughout the day in a rotation that they really tag teamed each other and really worked. What is that process like for you? And then I'd love to kind of hear about your character and what you found, you know, making that character.
Yeah, sure. Well, I worked with Carl on different projects. And, you know, it's always been a very positive experience. I've always been very impressed at how Carl's just able to create a deaf and hearing ensemble, put characters together, and getting a location, right? It was just fortunate that we were able to collaborate together to do this shoot. We had many options, and being able to just come up with a creative script and just being able to have a bar, you know, instead just to have a bar available. Of course, you know, that story would happen at this bar. It needed to look like a bar, so that was perfect. So I was very just impressed with the way Carl just got to put this team together, wrote everything together. I had never thought of some of the ideas that came through. And we thought about the game Clue and thought, you know, back in the 1980s, when I was a kid, I remembered that game. And I thought, okay, well, this could be like a Clue thing. I think it'd be funny if we did that. And so playing Jen as the character, I had to really just fall in love with Scott's character, fall in love with protecting him as well from the poisonous drinks that he was being offered. And he was my love interest, right? So it was just my character who had to try to snag him. And at the end, then I got kidnapped. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what happens if we do a part 2. But I really was very grateful to have the interpreters that we had on set, just to be able to find interpreters last minute who are willing to just do the work in 12 hours, right? And I had the opportunity to just bring interpreters in from CSUN, California State University, Northridge, from Pierce College, and also being able to bring another interpreter or bring someone else in the background who was deaf as well, because I wanted to make sure that there was an interpreters who were available for this other deaf person in our team. So just a background person who needed to make sure that they had access to all the language. So being an ASL consultant, that required having interpreting services. So being able to find everyone that we needed to have this access while we did this filming, it's complicated, right? It's just not something that you can just do, walk around and get somebody. You have to be attentive to so many things. Being able to make sure that I know what I'm doing as an actor, to know what I'm doing with ASL consultants, trying to figure out what she needs and looking at the script and just trying to make sure that we get everything right. And, you know, we need those interpreters for that access. And sometimes we needed the interpreters to get out of the frame while we're shooting something. So they had to duck there, figure out how we were going to run this set. It was funny. And I remember just thinking, wow, you know, we need to be able to show this. I mean, you know, how do I figure out where people are, how people are situated, how am I going to keep things that I need to keep on as, you know, like my cochlear implants, but being deaf, I need to be able to use these things and being able to have my eyesight so I can see the interpreters or know where I need to be or know where the interpreters need to be. And it was very helpful to have that. And then just once action is called, being able to do what we need to do. So sometimes it was just a mess and my hair showed it, and sometimes, you know, it didn't. So yeah, it was just the character that I had as Jen, being a completely deaf person without any cochlear implants. I had to imagine, okay, who that is and how is this person going to live their life and fall in love and date with a Moscow, right? And just Moscow Mule being my love interest and being able to see people dancing and just a positive experience, really. Having met Carl, and it's funny how we met actually, because I remember that I was working on Facebook, and I had knew that Scott had been around. I knew Rosendahl, and I'd contacted me and talked about a future project, maybe working together, maybe, I thought maybe in a few years something might happen. And then in 2021, there was a technical support needed. And so that's where I met Parson.
The film
and Carl.
Tech Support. Tech Support was the name of the film.
Yes, Tech Support was the name of the film. Very creative mind, both of them. Very impressed with what they were able to do to come up with all this creativity. I loved it. I loved working with Danny, very skilled director. Just everything was really awesome. It was a great opportunity just to be able to show, what we can achieve.
Absolutely, yeah. And Tech Support, that film is the one that's actually showing at the Blackbird Film Festival later this month, at the end of April in Cortland, New York. So we will be there attending in person, and I'm excited to show that film as well. But I know you were talking about you and Scott having communicated before. And Scott, I'd love to kind of talk to you about, obviously you and I met through the Disability Film Challenge as fellow competitors the first year, but then we teamed up the next year. I'd love to hear about your experience and what it was like as a producer, but then going just in front of the camera, where obviously you're a wonderful performer. You've been in a number of our team's projects now. But what is that process like for you?
Wow. Well, producing is far greater responsibility, I'd say, than acting. And it's when it comes to these sorts of projects with time challenges, the sooner you can assemble your team, the better off you'll be, as a general rule. With the project that I produced in 2018, I kind of was scrambling towards the end of, towards the beginning of the 48-hour challenge, as it was back then. I'd been approached by the director that I used that year on a different project that didn't pan out, but I appreciated his work, and so I asked him if he wanted to be involved with the film challenge, and it was nice because he had a crew of his own that could come aboard last minute. So, but then I met Carl at the award ceremony that year, and I guess we were runner up to you guys, and I saw Checkmate was a great film, and I thought, well, maybe this guy Carl would be worth collaborating with on future projects. And then we've worked on, I don't know how many film challenges now, just between the LA 48-hour Film Festival and the Disability Film Challenge. I think we've done at least like a dozen films now since 2018, right?
Yeah, I don't know what that number. I'll have to calculate what that number is. We've obviously done a number, and we're now collaborating on a feature film script together. We're writing a film.
And you asked me after I introduced myself, and I knew that you guys were competing, and Cultural Detritus was going to compete in the next 48-hour for LA, the 48-hour film project for LA, and asked to come aboard, and then you, of course, gave me the leading role in that film, playing a deceased father, which is also something you like to do, Carl. Let's admit this now. You like to. I survived this time in Rick's Cafe.
You didn't die in this one. It's really we're have a scorecard going of how many times we've killed Scott. It's a running gag at this point. But no, and it's been a really wonderful collaboration. I mean, we've done a number of projects together, and a number of people on here we've worked together multiple times. Diana, you and I have done multiple projects together.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like doing this one, and what was it like doing some of the other ones?
I've been involved with the Disability Film Challenge since the second year. I took a couple years off during the pandemic. But I love this challenge because it's so focused on the visibility of diverse disability and diverse images of disability. I love that this year it was romance, because rarely are people in the deaf and disabled community seen in romantic films, just falling in love and breaking up and all the things that are about the complexities of romance. And I love working with you, Carl, because I think you're awesome. We competed with the best director, but I for challenges I love acting. And Danny, you're such an awesome director. I was so, because I love everyone. You get to work with people you really love, which is really awesome. And I think for me, Tequila and Crystal wrote this fantastically delicious character who was a business owner who very comfortable in their own skin and a mature woman, because I'm a little bit older than everybody here, and I love that I got to play that on screen. And it was a little bit wicked. It wasn't, this. She may Tequila has a couple issues there, but it was great. What I love about acting in a challenge is you get 24 hours to create a full background, and when you're sometimes you have in a play or a film you may have longer, but here I read the script at midnight. It came out. I remember waiting for the script at midnight or 12:30 minutes. I looked at it and said, okay, I'm going to go to bed and wake up at 5 so I could get a little sleep. But I read it first. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And what was really awesome is I thought when I heard about the challenge, I went, oh, it would be really fun to play a matchmaker. That would be a character I would love to play. And so when I read it, I'm like, Crystal read my mind. I was a little freaked out because it was so something that I dreamed about doing. So it was cool. I love the challenge of trying to come up with a fully rounded character. And I did some brief background after talking to Crystal. And she's like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. And that always makes me feel good when you're kind of bringing to life what the writer had in mind.
You did an incredible job with that, Diane. You really brought that character to life. It was incredible.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, you want to do it for the team. You want to do it as an actor. You don't want to be the weakest link on a strong team, And
all the cast is so strong in this film.
Yeah, Megan, I've gotten to know Megan and Scott and Danny. It becomes this wonderful family that you get to play with, and I really love that.
Well, yeah, and you all work so well together, right? I mean, as even an ensemble, right? As you guys are working together, there's no weak link, right?
Yeah,
and I do want to point out too, we have a couple of people in the waiting room here. I'm going to introduce Teresa and Shannon Derricks, who play Manhattan and Mojito. Welcome, you guys. I'm going to bring Parson back in as well.
Hi, guys.
Teams all together here. Teresa and Shannon, if you wouldn't mind just quickly introducing yourselves, giving a quick visual description and talking about what you did on the film.
Hi, my name is Shannon Derricks. I play Mojito, and I really like the set of the scene.
And I'm Teresa Derricks, and I'm an old lady. That's it.
Well, and so you played Manhattan. You played Manhattan in it, and often Teresa brings Shannon, and then we end up roping Teresa in to the projects, and so she's been featured now a number of times in the films that we've done all together, and it's always a joy having you guys on set. Shannon, what was it like for you in wearing the costumes? I think the costumes done by Danny's sister, really wonderful job sort of doing the costume design. What was it like wearing the costume that you were wearing this year?
I really love the costumes
Yeah. What did you like about them?
because like my favorite color is pink. I really like pink.
Yeah, and it's a nice pink dress. And for those of you who haven't seen the film, and I'm going to put up a QR code here in a little bit. Crystal, thank you for that wonderful suggestion. So that you guys will be able to scan on your phone and be able to bring up the film and be able to watch it on our YouTube, on the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge YouTube page, to be able to watch the film if anyone watching hasn't seen it yet. But yeah, you guys did a wonderful job, Teresa. And I texted you this the other day. Literally every time I hear your line, it gets me. It makes me laugh. Truly. And I think
I sure hope so.
so good.
I think at that point in the shooting process, we were all ready for a drink.
Yeah.
For those of us who drink, we were all like,
And you might want to know that Carl kills me off several times in his movies too.
Wait, how many times we've killed you once, right? We killed you once in Turntable. Was there another time that we actually killed you?
In this one.
And this one. So yeah, this is now two. We're just gonna have a punch list of everybody, like who, like Michael Vaccaro,
The turntable was the worst.
That was, I know that was
No, Carl doesn't remember, but everybody remembers when they've been beaten, murdered, or whatever in these films.
Yeah, which has happened to me, I think, 5 times now.
I've managed
this time I couldn't go on the floor because I broke my hip.
Not filming with us. You did not break your hip filming with us.
No. But I broke my hip in December, so I told him, if you're going to kill me, I can't be on the floor.
Yeah.
I managed to stay alive. I managed to stay alive and now you film, Carl. So maybe there's something coming up for me.
And by the way, here's a comment from Mary, our wonderful wardrobe designer who's watching. Hi, Mary. Thank you so much for your hard work. She also plays, what is the name of Mary's character in the film?
Mai Tai.
Mai Tai.
I think she was trying to join, but the studio's full.
Yeah, we're full, and so unfortunately can't bring everybody in here. That it only allows me like 10 people, so I may cycle some of you guys out as we get a little bit further along here.
So just real quick,
why
I wanted to
go put out a fire and let Mary join you guys, and I'll come back in a little while.
Yeah, Parson, if you wouldn't mind doing that would be amazing.
Of course. No.
Oh wait, she's saying all good. She's saying all good. Listen, if you want to join, let us know, Mary. You can put it in the comments, and we're happy to bring you on board. So I'd love to actually talk to you about your process as well. About doing the wardrobe on it. But wait, was someone else trying to say something? I might have jumped in.
Danny.
Yeah, I was just trying to say my sister has helped on wardrobe. She helped on LA 48 when we did Connections, which our team won best film for. She did wardrobe on that, and she overlooked, hair, makeup, stuff like that. But my sister for this one, she's like, I just want one speaking role. I just want one line, because she wants to get in front of the camera. I was like, I'll see what I can do. A little nepotism on set, I guess. I can hook it up.
You know some people apparently to make that happen. And actually, she's saying she can join. So Parson, would you mind bouncing out for a minute, and we'll bring you back in?
Yeah, no problem, guys. I will reconnect
Parson,
later.
Awesome. Thanks, Parson. All right. So Mary, if you want to join, feel free to come backstage, and I'll let you in here. This is live streaming, guys. This is how we do it. Fly by the seat of our pants like we make these films as well. But we'll give her a second here to join and let her introduce herself when she's here. But yeah, so obviously Danny, when we've had her on set, she was also on the set of I.O. She was there doing the wardrobe for I.O. as well. So it's really like, what's awesome is for those of you who have been been in multiple films and worked on multiple cultural detritus films. I love the team aspect. I love the camaraderie. I love the friendships that have been built from these film competitions, because for me as a filmmaker, all I wanted to do was make a film, right? That was sort of where I started and why I started doing these film competitions. And when I got involved in the Disability Film Challenge, I realized that there was an entire community of people who had had very little opportunity because of people's perceived limitations due to disabilities. I'm curious, and I kind of want to throw it out to the room. What has that been like? And I'm sure that's a loaded question for a lot of you, but feel free to jump in. But what was that like, and what is that like, working in this business and trying to make as much opportunity as you possibly can while facing discrimination?
Well, you were the first one to kind of get Shannon going, and that was for Checkmate. So that's how long we've been with you. And it was a weird situation how we got connected. It was on Backstage. I think I put and you were looking for someone, and 9 o'clock at night, the next day we had to be there.
Yeah, we specifically wrote a role in for Shannon because of the audition tape that you submitted, Teresa. We watched it that night while we were writing. Andrew Horn, who was writing on IO, or on Checkmate rather, also on IO, but on Checkmate, we saw that tape and I was like, Andrew, we have to write a role in for this awesome woman. And so we did, and literally it was 9 p.m. the night before, and the next day you guys were on set, and you were like really had all like the punchlines, Shannon. You were the one. Wow. You were a comedian in that, which I know you wanted to be a comedian in IO, and we gave you that role too. But you had really some great lines in Checkmate. Does anybody else?
We gotta go because our dinner is here. So.
All right.
You can bring Parson back in.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll let him know. Parson, you can come back if you're watching. Great to see you guys.
How do I exit this?
Yeah.
I think here I'll remove you, and then you just I think can close out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. And then I just kind of want to see anybody else feel like weighing in on discrimination in this business and I'm not trying to force the issue, but I just kind of want to ask it to the room, and if anyone feels, Megan.
Yes. It's really strange. Well, I remember this one time I had shown up to an independent audition. I just wanted to meet the director, and I approached the director, and I thought, well, I want to audition for the script. But the director said, well, we use sound here, this is for hearing people. And I said, well, I'm going to do my best. You know what I mean? This is what I'm going to try to do as an actor. And Carl, and everyone here knows that you have to find a way to be able to solve whatever issues come up, right? Like we did in technical support, you come up with a way to figure it out. And even with, just a sign, for example, if you were to do something like this or have something written there, something just to be able to communicate, or you can text, you can have text displays, whatever it is that's necessary to have that communication occur. That's what we would do when I would do Deaf West plays. You come up with a solution. Something on the set, something for a deaf character walking by. You just try to figure out how it is that you have a character communicate. Maybe as you have a text box that's showing what is being typed on the text. So it's just, and also like if you're working on a TV show, like Speechless, for example, that they have a character who, and I think she spoke, but I don't remember. But the whole point is that they were trying to have this character communicate, right? And so while she was texting, you could see it on the screen, and that's how that character communicated, by being able to just communicate via her text. And so they would have that, which would have a voiceover stating what was being communicated on text. So the point is that there's a lot of different ways to get that communication. I don't have the best voice. It's not the most audible voice. I can say bye and hi and hello, some very clearly, easily understandable sounds and words. And sometimes, you can just, like when they used to have silence films, you were still able to communicate because it's an art form. You have to think of this as an art form just to be able to figure out what is the challenge and what are the solutions we can find. And there are a variety of solutions for that. You have to be open to being able to realize that there are a lot of more deaf actors that are coming out. You have a lot of independent projects that are going to have to figure things out. There are commercials that are coming out. It's just changing. The landscape is changing. And I think that's very cool.
I've been thinking, because I really want to share this in a thoughtful, positive way, because obviously I'm a Black woman working in the industry and I have a disability. So I have faced the barriers, and I had an agent tell me, you'll never be pretty enough to be on TV. And, I thought about him when I worked with Shmar Moore on SWAT. I'm like, wow, but
Proved him wrong.
yeah, I know. And I had to look at Shmar Moore all day, like this tough at times. But in all seriousness, film is storytelling, and film should be a representation of humanity. We, the community, have often been limited from even telling our own stories. I think the amount of people, actors, and not to take away from their work, who won Oscars for playing people with disabilities compared to authentic, people who have disabilities like this. But I think you can get into the angry, because it is hard. But I also think the way you work through that anger is to continue to create opportunities. This has been the Easterseals Film Challenge has grown over from, that Vicky started 10 years ago, from something small to now at the International Film Festival. Well, with 115 films this year. And I've been looking at some of the films. There are older couples, there are breakups, there are LGBTQI stories, which I think is also important. It's such a celebration this year of the diversity of our communities. Because we are the largest intersectional, diverse community of how some of us are born with our disabilities, some acquire disabilities. And so I agree with Megan that landscape is changing. Sometimes feel like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it feels like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. But I think as hard as it can be, I can't imagine doing anything else, and the fact that I get to do this with people who I really love. I care so much about everybody here. Patrick, I don't know you as well, but Danny and Megan and Crystal, and, I care so much about, but I remember meeting you, and I care so much about this people and working with them, and how I really do believe stories will change the world. May not always be as soon as we want to, but that doesn't mean we don't keep on trying and keep on putting our focus in creating the world as we would like it to be. And I think films are a great way to show how we want to be seen.
I think that was kind of what made me make the transition. I'm an ambulatory wheelchair user and also an actress, and I would go into audition rooms and be told that I don't look disabled enough. And so for me, that was just heartbreaking to even hear. And I'd been so welcomed into the community of performers with disabilities. And I was meeting all of these incredibly talented actors and hearing their stories about how they'd never even had an opportunity because they were born with a disability, or they wanted to try to pursue it, but they were told they couldn't for some reason or another. That's what kind of led me into wanting to tell stories that where people with disabilities aren't just featured for a storyline, but they're also the person you see working at a cafe. There's no reason they can't be someone with a limb difference. There's no reason that a bartender can't, it's just, I think that it's important that people remember, segregation ended in film and television 8 years before it happened in real life. Same thing with women having the right to vote was happening on TV and film 10 years before women had the right to vote. So I think that right now it's really important that we become more inclusive within our industry and we start showing people in the workforce with disabilities on the screen so that we open up opportunities for people in real life to have those positions in the world. So that's kind of been my passion and what's driven me towards writing now as well. And thank you so much to Danny, who I met at a showcase and I was like, I really want to write. I really want to write. And he introduced me to Carl and this entire incredible team. So I'm really grateful. Thank you guys for letting me be a part of all this.
Oh, thank you so much for being a part of it. Because it's also, I mean, it takes a certain kind of person to say yes to this. We don't know what we're doing. We're shooting something on Saturday, and now we got to figure it out, right? Now I do that, and by the way, just very, very quickly before I bring Marion and Parson back, just quickly, I want to mention the statistics, right? I mean, we all on this live stream know, 25% of the population has a disability. Roughly 3% are seen in film and television shows. That's probably ticking up a tad, given the Disability Film Challenge specifically and the representation seen from all of these films, which I also truly highly recommend. I know, Diana, you were saying sort of the diversity and really the intersectionality really of every group, right? So disability can touch anybody at any time as well. If you're born with it, yes, you can join the community at any time with an accident or something that occurs. So, representation is so hugely important. It's so important to me. Something else to note is out of the 3% that are seen on film and television shows of people with disabilities, 95% of those roles are played by able-bodied actors and by actors that don't have the disability that they're portraying. So where's their opportunity, right? And it's like, I think this goes to your point, Chris. So you can see people doing things, people with disabilities at a cafe, somebody with a limb difference or cerebral palsy, and normalize it within society. You can see it and visualize it. So people are like, oh, you can do that? Because when you don't see it, it creates this difference. It's like, oh, well, nobody can do that. No, somebody with a limb difference can't work at a cafe.
I often very quickly share the story. I say the two best days of my life were the days my nephews were born. The worst day of my life so far was the day my friend Daniel took his life. None of those have anything to do with the fact that I have cerebral palsy. They have to do with the fact that I live a human experience. So I've experienced the most amazing joys, and these two little boys came into my life who are now becoming these amazing young men. And the deepest pain because a beautiful person chose to leave the world and left us with them with a hole in our hearts. So that's what I mean. It's not about, yes, we deal with things that are directly about my disability, but 95% of my life is just, oh, I gotta pay taxes. Oh boy, oh, I gotta make dinner when we're done. What am I gonna eat? Not that would be a good movie, but that's how my life is.
And like most life, right? Is you're just living your life, right? It's like that's ultimately the key, and that's what I also enjoy is like I cast people and I put people on these films in various roles who have disabilities that people then say, oh, you can do that? And then I say, yeah, and we did it in like 5 days or 2 days, and it just like blows people's minds. I can't wait until that's a normal thing and it's not mind-blowing. Right? It's like it shouldn't be. It doesn't make much sense to me, but I'm like, I just can't wait for that to be the case. Okay, now I know Mary and Parson have been waiting very patiently in the backstage area here. I'm going to bring Mary in, and Parson. Oh my! Oh, Mary has changed.
Mary.
That's my sis.
Hi everyone,
welcome.
good to see you again.
Hey guys. Hey Mary.
How's it going?
Mary, if you wouldn't mind just quickly introducing yourself and giving a quick visual description.
Okay. Hi, my name is Mary. Danny's sister. I've taught him everything he knows. Don't let him fool you. Okay. I am a Latina female with ombre hair. And it's like shoulder length, bob cut. I'm in our office room, our office / second bedroom. And
she's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. And so, Mary, obviously you heard us when we were talking before about the costumes. Can you talk a little bit about what that process was like for you? And then obviously being in a film for the first time with a speaking role, what that process was like for you as well.
I feel like it was one of those moments where like everything like timed and lined up correct, like just perfectly in my life. Like I have so much costume jewelry and like clothes that I don't wear, and they were just perfect, I feel like, for this project. And I'm in that season of where I'm like, you know, trying to get out of my comfort zone, trying to get back in like community and trying new things. So when Danny asked, you know, if I could help on the project, I was like, yeah, but I want to do something different. I'm like, I want to try my hand at like acting. And I've background acted before and, you know, just been in the background, but I feel like in my life, spiritually, I feel like God's telling me like, try to do something in front of the camera, or like try to get out of the shadows or like the behind the scenes a little bit, because I've been comfortable there for a very long time. So yeah, I the night before, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, like I have to like be in front of the camera, like should I like bounce? But it was like I was just more excited than anything. So yeah, I'm so happy that we did it, and my husband joined in, and it was his first time on one of these projects, and I think this was my third project with you guys.
Yeah, because you had done IO and Connections. Were you on Connections as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's always wonderful. I mean, having brother and sister team is always wonderful as well. Having you guys around.
Well, I can just say also, like, you guys, when you rolled up with a great energy and a ton of just like fantastic costumes. Like it was like, like when you guys got there that morning, I think I was one of the first people to see you, and I was like, oh no, this is like, no matter what we do today, it's gonna look fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Parson.
And I got to tell you, I was so like almost like a proud dad, watching my little sister, who's been like my, you know, like my rock behind the scenes, because I always try to bring her on the projects that I do, and she's always like taking care of me. And you know, we went to New York when I shot New Amsterdam, and she was bringing me espresso and like just making sure I had everything. So like she's awesome. So I really wanted to reward her, and not reward her, just kind of show her that she could do this in front of the camera. And when I saw it, I literally, like, I'm tearing up because it made me so proud to see them on screen. Yeah. And I think it was important, your character with Gonzalo, because it brought another element of romance that none of us have really thought about, I think. Like Crystal wrote it beautifully, but it didn't, when it was happening, and you'll see in the film, it added this whole other aspect of the romance that was perfect for the film.
Well, you guys have like of all the, let me just be the one to be real, like of everybody like that was there on that day, like you guys had a true like romance together, and the rest of us were just running around with our heads cut off trying to make a film. So
that's a great point, Parson. I told my brother, I'm like, I don't think I would have been able to like just be so calm and just
in the moment. Had that not been my husband, I was like acting with, I would have been really awkward and just
It was great. It was so natural. It felt so good.
So natural. Seriously, like I don't think anybody can watch them
Yeah.
like, oh, they've never been on camera before, or they haven't acted together. You know what I mean? It's like it just fit, right? But I also want to kind of say that sort of magic that kind of emerges from these film projects, it really is an elevation every step of the way. It's like it starts with the script, and then the actors come in and really elevate it, and the wardrobe really makes it something, and the set does that, and then we get into post. We haven't even talked about post-production at all, and I kind of want to ask Patrick too, because Patrick came in, I don't even know what part of the day. It was like pretty late in the day when we were already there. And I kind of want to hear what your experience was like, Patrick, because not only did you kind of come in and see now what you were going to be able to work with later, but you were really the last stop in the film, right? And sort of what that process was like for you, you know, and how visiting set maybe helped you, if at all.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it did help, and I showed up, and you know, I've done a couple of, I think that was the 4th disability film challenge I had worked on. I'd done 3, like where I was the director and producer, and then this year I like wanted to be a part of it, but like you have to have like a lot of physical like wherewithal to make it through the through the process. And this year I was like, I don't have it in me. I just can't do it, the whole thing. But I was like, I can do post. So anyways, I was very excited when you gave me a call, and wanted me to join, and then I showed up to set, and it was like a studio. It was like a proper actual whole film studio. I was like, oh, this is gonna be and you guys are filming on a Red camera and a Sony, which are like, produce beautiful images. And so it in true, I did an Instagram post yesterday, and I was like, in true disability or true film challenge, fashion, it came down to the last second. Yeah, getting it over the finish line was like a little harrowing, like trying to make it, make it look good for what we were working with, and like get all the technical speed bumps out of the way. I'm really excited. I don't know if everyone's been able to see it, but like in that post, I was able to like put like a side by side of like what the proxy, like the the lower resolution footage looks like versus the like full higher. So I'm like really excited to take another stab at it and like get it like really dialed in, because there's like really a lot of thought went into like the design of the film. Like there's an element of red, which like was a little hard to like pull out. I think it came out pretty well in the like challenge version, but like it's gonna be able to like really, really pop when we can really kind of give it the time it deserves. So that's like the cool part about this, is like it's such a fast process, but you get to tell some like really like surprisingly detailed and like cool stories.
Carl's muted, I think.
Yeah.
No,
I lost the window. I was going to bring up the post, your post you were talking about, to reference that before and after, which is really cool. I couldn't find the tab again. Personal management issues over here. But no, I looked at that and it looks really cool, right? It's like there's definitely such a difference in those two images. And they really are striking. But something I do want to bring up, and you talked about sort of how harrowing it was and how everything kind of came down to the last minute. And on Sunday, we were watching it down. Danny, I think it was maybe 2 hours before the film was due. And we realized we were missing a bit of romance, right? Because we had to make a very difficult decision during the production to cut off the beginning of the script and then cut off the end of it because we ran out of time to film. And we were really like on set just trying to figure it out. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And through kind of that process, we had forgotten some things, right? As you do. It's a very long day. It's very fast and very quick. And even with a really large and talented group of people working together, you can still miss certain things. And so we started writing some VO, some dialogue, that we needed to include at the very beginning. And Scott, you had given me a deadline of 4:30. I mean, the film's due at 6 anyway. We were like, okay, I can only be available till 4:30 because we figured, we can have the actors record on their phone to do some of this VO. I think it was 4:26 when we got you the final script of what we wanted to try and do.
No.
Was it 4:31? I don't know what time was it now.
Yeah, it was about 4:34, I believe.
Well, my timing may be a little off.
Notes.
Well, honestly, like he came.
That's what you do, You get things comes down the pike, down to the wire, and you do what you got to do to have a completed project in time.
No, that's true. That's
and I will say this, Carl in the past when he's directed has had productions go like 18 hours. We've done 18-hour days, and so this time around it was nice that it was a 12-hour day, right? And if I had to do a couple minutes on Sunday of voiceover work, no biggie.
Yeah, it wasn't 1 or 2 in the morning. That Crystal Falls shoot went very long. I'm sorry, guys. For all of you who have been on those super duper long shoots, I know went till like midnight. But that's the thing. It's like it's really challenging, right? As you're thinking on the fly. Hey, what's that like, right? It's like you've now stepped into the director's chair twice. What's that like for you? And in terms of having to think so quickly and figure out like how everything kind of goes together while you're in the moment trying to figure it all out.
I think the biggest challenge on this second time around, because the story was so beautifully created with like all these clues and elements, which sadly we had to cut out a lot of stuff because of time, and we had to come up with stuff on the spot. But I think the biggest challenge for me was that we were all like on 2 to 3 hours of sleep, and mentally you're not as sharp on little amount of sleep. And when there's so much being thrown at you, it's good to be surrounded by a good team, because there was a moment there where I literally just went blank. Like in my head, I just had nothing. And usually like ideas are always popping into my head. But when you're surrounded with a good team of people and great actors, and I just want to applaud like our cast, because a lot of us had disabilities and they say we can't work long hours, but we were there. Everybody was on set and ready and willing to work, and our crew were just knocking stuff out. But I think just being so tired, because we prepared all night thinking that we had everything dialed in, but when you get on set, there's like, we have to shoot this insert, we have to shoot that, we have to shoot this reverse, we have to shoot this coverage. And we kind of like put ourselves, I don't want to say put ourselves in a corner, but we literally challenge ourselves when we shoot on one day and one day alone. So there's time and there's the energy that I think is one of the biggest challenges for me. And that, going forward, hopefully we get a little more sleep and we have a little more energy. But I know, I mentally prepare myself to be working into the night and be low on energy and just making it work.
Yeah, and it's not just the shot selection, right? It's every person is coming to you with a question. What do you think of this? What about this wardrobe? What do you think of that? I mean, every actor is asking, or you need to also communicate to every actor that as well. So it's just sort of like this overload of information that you have to be at the ready to be able to at least have a response. And sometimes it's just making a decision that you think is the best decision given the information that you have, just to be able to move past it to then do do whatever the next thing is that you're about to be asked, right?
Yeah, and one of the things that if anyone is like wanting to direct for the first time, I think educating yourself on the technical side of filmmaking, knowing what cameras do what lenses do what, it makes it so much easier to relay your vision to a DP or like somebody that's on the technical side, because there are so many shots that, you know, on my wish list that I wish we'd gotten that they would have been awesome, and hopefully, you know, on another project we can do something that, you know, I wish we would have gotten. And I feel like it was on me if I was a little more prepared on how to speak with technical stuff, that would have helped immensely. Some of my shots were like, you know, I wanted like Spielberg, James Cameron type things, but on the day you get there and you're like, you have to cut some of those things off just to make the day work. And, you know, I'm pretty proud with the footage that we got, even though when I'm watching it, I'm like, this would have been so cool right here. You know what I mean? But one of my other favorite things was working with the actors, because I am an actor. So I felt that was so important that I gave everyone a backstory, or like, I know, you know, it's hard to create a backstory, like Diana said, in such a short amount of time. So that was something that was in the back of my head, that let me see if I can help my actors. I don't want to tell them how to act, but I want to maybe give them pieces of information that a character might have that they didn't think about. Things that I had been living inside of me that maybe would help. And like, props to everyone, because you all brought your own sense to the character. And Scott like did so much with, you know, he's great with dialogue, and he didn't have a lot in this one, but he did so much with just his looks. And I think that makes a really strong actor. And then Megan, you and Scott communicating, that was awesome. And you know, Megan coming through with some comedic stuff that you know, Jin had, that, you know, wasn't really written on the page, but you brought it, that was important. And then of course Diana with Tequila Sunrise. Like, I want to see this place in action. Like, I want to see your character running this joint and seeing where that story goes.
The Rick's Cafe TV series, right? So,
oh man, I am on board.
Where spies go to play. And by the way, I do want to bring up, here's the QR code in the top right here for the film, that if you guys do want to watch it, you can screenshot that QR code. You can watch it on YouTube. It's also on Instagram. It's on Facebook. And highly encourage everybody. I'll also put it in the comments, so you all can get a chance to watch it if you have not watched it yet. But I'm super proud of the way the film turned out. And I mean, listen, doing film challenges is not for the weak, right? It's like, you have to have a strong constitution. Danny, like you were saying, it can be long hours sometimes, but ultimately, like, it's its own work of art, right? It's a unique art form that isn't like traditional filmmaking. I mean, it's very compressed, right? It's a very, very different kind of experience. And I'm grateful to all of you for signing on again to the team, to the Cultural Detritus team. And I'm so excited to show everybody the film. And I really hope everybody gets a chance to watch not just Rick's Cafe, but all the Disability Film Challenge films that are wonderful. And I have to say, Diana and Megan, you guys did like double, and I think Megan, you did triple dipping on this challenge, where you were in multiple projects. So I actually am curious, at least from your guys' perspectives, before we wrap up, and I know we've gone a little bit over time. If anybody needs to drop off, totally understand. But what was it like doing multiple projects? And Diana, why don't we start with you?
I enjoyed that it could work out that way. You know, because I film Coy Readers, which is Smash or Pass. Check it out. It's another wonderful film I'm really proud of to be a part of. Award. And I love, for me, because I realized for me, the challenge that I had to resident produce, I just like to act, because that's the challenge enough for me. And a competition. But it's great to play two characters that were very different yet had a similarity. And that, for me, they wrote really strong kick butt women who were really, and I love that I got to do that. And I love that I get to show that. And the woman who is not 30. And so it was fun. I think that's my thing, to do a couple, it was really fun. Plus, I got, again, to work with great people that I love to work with. And Danny, I want to say you are such an actor-director because it starts at the top. And you and Carl and Parson, the three of you, whatever nervousness or whatever you had, never showed. And it starts at the top. And you guys, that's why it's so great to work with you guys, because as an actor, it's like, oh, I'm safe, right? I know that I'm going to be taken care of. And I really appreciate it. And very quickly, Mary, you made me feel so beautiful with how you spoke to me. And I just really appreciated that. And I wanted to let you know that.
I just want to say real quick, like that goes both ways to you, Diana, and everybody that, like, working with this team it takes a special type of, like, I always say, like, takes a special type of crazy just to want to be involved in a competition, like a short film challenge. But like, I have just, like, I've found a community with like this troop, this tribe, if you will. And I can't like stress it enough. Like, you do just feel very comfortable with this group of people, and I love it. It's great to know that, like, no matter what we're going to do, that you're down for it, and like if it changes, that's what we're going to do also.
Although the first time I worked with Danny, in the script it said that he was fully nude and we had never worked together before, and he was like, wait, I don't think I can do that. And I'm like, no, I have an idea of how to do it. So, but that trust, right, that you're just talking about, Parson, I think is also really, really important. It is a two-way street. And I have to say, I echo that wholeheartedly, that not only do I enjoy making films, right? That's the reason I do this to begin with. I love making films with all of you guys. It's really such a joy and a pleasure and fun. And despite if we're tired or if things come up and change, the dynamic, that we still know that we can work together and can make some really amazing art together, right? It really is. That's part of this whole experience. And, making a film is difficult, even not on a compressed time frame where you have to do all these things. But making it in this time frame with people that I truly adore and enjoy working with, and just really make awesome projects together, is truly one of the reasons that I do this. So it's like the main reason.
So it's not for us to get naked for you on camera.
Listen, Scott.
I haven't been present for any of the nudity. I'm not sure. Nobody calls me for those projects.
It was tasteful. It was just from the waist up. Guys, I had a plan. I'm just saying. We finally got there. Megan.
Yes. I know that, this is a really great team because everyone has just found the right people, right? That we care about the project. Of course, you have to care about the project. And we're here just giving our time. We're going to volunteer for this project, for this art, and to do something that we're going to be very proud to show. And I think that just helps me feel like I've accomplished something, no matter what it is. If I do an audition and I get the role or not get the role, it's disappointing not to get the role, of course, but to be able to work with new people, to be able to meet new people, that you never know where a project will end up. You never know who you'll meet in the next project. So we've gotten to know each other. We never know who will come to meet in the future. It becomes a mystery, right? And so I just feel like we have a very good community, a very positive attitude community that looks for whatever needs to be taken care of and whatever time limit we have. And we just take those risks and we do it. And we're proud of what we do. And I think that's the reward, that, you know, we have these people who get what we're trying to do, and you know it, you know what we all mean. And it's awesome to just watch other projects as well, to see what those end up looking like and what they came up with and how may they have solved whatever challenge they came up with. And you never stop growing. That's all this is a growing opportunity. You know what I mean? So thank you.
Absolutely. No, that is wonderful. And really, I do want to highlight one comment here. It is a question. Bear Badeau. I don't know if any of you know Bear, but this looks like it's directed at you, Crystal. What was it like writing a script with such short notice?
It was a lot. I enjoy writing, so it was a lot of fun for me. It was cool to be able to write, and then you guys were available to like give notes or, you know, kind of massage the script a little bit and figure out, okay, there's too much murder happening here. We need a little bit more love there. Where the script started and where it ended up is completely, I mean, it's pretty different and funny to think. The first draft, I think people were dying by darts pretty quickly.
Right, that's right, the darts. I forgot about the darts.
Yeah, there was a lot of darts happening in the first draft, but no, it was definitely a really fun process, and it was great to collaborate.
Well, and
Crystal did everything late, even when we were late into the night. This woman with a smile, just like I commented on that earlier, she was smiling the whole time, even when we were like changing the script a million times. She had the greatest attitude.
Oh, thank you. I like that it's a team effort. Like I know some people get attached to writing and stuff, but I feel like it's more of whatever makes it best for the group, you know?
Well, and the evolution of not just the script, but the film itself and sort of the elevation that I was talking about before, it can change, right? It's like having that VO writing on Sunday before 2 hours before. And I'm sorry, Scott, did you have a correction that you perhaps wanted to say about when you received it?
Yes, I received it at 4:27, which was 3 minutes prior to when I said I had another engagement. Yes, okay. To be fair.
So see, I mean, you still had 3 minutes. And by the way, I just want to say, as the pro that you are, Scott, I mean, you did 3 different versions of each line and gave us exactly what we needed, to be able to.
Now, had you asked me to do, a Russian accent, which I know you had played around with, it may have taken me a few more minutes to accomplish that. So thankfully you didn't ask for that.
Well, I do have to say though, and everybody, not obviously you, Scott, you came in at the last second and were able to help elevate it there as well. But that elevation process, no one outside of our group, obviously we're talking about it right now. So if you're just watching the film, all that matters to the people in the audience is what they see in the rectangle, right? Whether it's on their phone, on a movie screen, wherever, that's the only thing. They don't know what our intention was. They don't know what, Danny, you were thinking, or I was thinking, or Crystal, you were thinking in terms of the writing, or what the actors were thinking. That doesn't really matter to the audience, as long as that viewing experience is the thing that people are connecting to. And I have to say, with this particular film, like, it wound up in a really great spot. I really want to comment on Izzy G's score that came in maybe an hour before, that none of us had heard prior, and really set the tone and makes it something that really puts you in the space of, oh yeah, this is a spy movie. And so all those pieces of dialogue that perhaps didn't connect because we didn't shoot the coverage, at certain points, or some of those clues that didn't 100% make sense because we didn't have that coverage, suddenly now makes sense within this spy world. Like, oh, this is how spies communicate with one another, right? Mm-hmm. But it's, again, like, the audience doesn't know until they actually see the film. They have no idea exactly what's been
yes, and all that was like organically created within the same time frame, like all within our short period of time, which is amazing.
Yep. And you definitely, this is like one of those you have to watch, you have to watch it a few times, because there's a lot of connecting dots that you'll miss on the first run through.
Yeah, like the dancing lady, even the color of the dancing lady, or the clue that Megan grabs, Patrick had to make sure that color matched the shot glass color. And you spent
Yeah.
time doing that. I remember very specifically you going in and making sure that those colors matched so that there was some connective tissue to that.
Yeah, because that was one of the ones we had to come up with on the spot because we didn't have the props that were written in the script that matched the shot glasses, unfortunately. But it worked out because we, our art director, what's her name again? I'm sorry.
Eli.
What's
Eli,
her
our
name?
art director, and our director of photography, Mike, who aren't with us tonight.
Yes, Eli. She came through with some amazing props, and she just happened to design this red dress. They came through. Forgive me. They came through with like this amazing prop of a red dancing lady that we were like, okay, well, we can make the red shot glass connected to that red dancing lady. Which, if you haven't seen it, we're kind of giving stuff away, but it'll make sense.
Well, now you have to go. If you haven't seen it, now you have to click on it like 1,000 times.
Exactly. I put all the links.
Start right now. Click the link right now and watch it a couple times.
Keep watching. We're still in the awareness campaign. So the awareness campaign.
Click the link.
Yeah.
Share with the friends. Like it.
Like, share, comment. Send it to your friends. Get as many views as we can on it. Where it is an awareness campaign competition as well. But seriously, guys, thank you so much. I know we've gone over time here, but I just want to thank you all, not just for your participation in the film itself and all your really amazing hard work, but jumping on this last minute. I mean, I think last night I said like, hey, let's do this, and all of you make yourselves available to do this, and I really greatly appreciate that and appreciate your time, and always just love spending time with you. It's fun to just hang out in a room and chat together. It's nice we can do this from our individual homes too. So it's really nice.
Well, thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for letting me be included. I love
Posting your like that smile. How could you not have posting? You're just so awesome.
We all are smiling, right? So it's just this is us. Yeah, go ahead.
Are we watching? Are we watching the movie now?
I'm not gonna actually post the movie. I'm gonna let people go and do it because if it's embedded in this, it doesn't count. Like I'm just gonna
That's because we need you to click and like and share the video yourself.
Yes.
That's why we're not sharing it, because we really appreciate
your producers,
you to click on it and watch it yourself.
And then share it, right? To get as many views as possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just saw this amazing film. Let me share it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to close it out here. So I'm going to, I think, focus on me right now. Hopefully. There we go. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Please go and like the film. It's called Rick's Cafe. It's on the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge YouTube page, Instagram, and Facebook as well. And thank you guys so much for joining, and have a great night. We'll play our music out here.